Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Uncharted 2 Crushing Difficulty walkthrough, and this is chapter 14, also known as Tunnel Vision. And this is, in my opinion, the harder of the two train levels, and it's quite action-packed. The beginning of it is a bit slow. We are inside this train tunnel. We're gonna face off against a few enemies, and after that, in the second phase of this level, we're gonna go outside again. We're gonna see some more beautiful scenery. We have reached up into the mountains, so a lot of snow-covered cliffs and all that stuff. And we're gonna go into some boss fights, is what I would like to call it. They're not exactly boss fights, or not two of them aren't exactly boss fights, but I see them as that. But I'm gonna talk a bit more about that when we get there, as usual. This first part, this can be quite tricky if you don't know how to aim. My aim can be, sometimes I aim like a fucking god, and sometimes I'm completely terrible at it. And here I make a little mistake. I brought the sniper rifle with me. Do not do that. Pick up the M4 instead. It's gonna serve you better, because there's not much reason to bring the sniper rifle. As you can see, there are two guys climbing up on the cart, and that was a horrible transition. I'm sorry, I died. I couldn't find a better way to edit it. And also, the environmental hazards have made another entry in this chapter. There are lights passing over the roof of the trains, like that. They always go in the same pattern, which is left, right, left, right. And what I recommend you do, if you are gonna go over the roofs or the ceilings or whatever you call it, is as soon as one of those lights passes you, move over to that side, because then you will know that you will be safe from the next one coming on the other side. And as soon as pops up on the other side, move over to that. You know how it works, or you understand what I mean. But I think very soon we will be going into the second phase of this chapter, as soon as I get into this train cart. And the boss fight's coming up. First we're gonna fight a chopper, and then we're gonna fight a super heavy. And the super heavy, wow, that was the worst aiming in video game history. I missed a padlock at point blank range for an assault rifle. Well, I said it. Sometimes I'm really good at aiming, and sometimes I really suck at it. Wow, terrible. That's one of those things you would like to edit out when you're editing videos like this. But anyway, we are going into the second phase of this level. We have reached the outside of the tunnel, and now we're up in the Alps. And also, if you have the opportunity, take a few seconds to just enjoy this scenery, because this place, just like the previous level in Locomotion, is absolutely beautiful. But this is pretty standard as usual. Luckily for me, there wasn't a big blast radius on that grenade, but this heavy gets too close for comfort. At waste-free magnum bullets, or maybe I should see it as an investment, because we all know what damage they can do if they get too close. And also, something I recommend is save your grenades in this level if you can, because going into the boss fight at the end of this chapter, grenades are gonna serve you extremely well against that guy, because he can be a pain. If you don't handle the fight correctly, it will be borderline impossible. And it took me a few tries, because I had forgotten how the fight worked. It's one of those moments you have to do you have to approach it a specific way. And if you don't do it like that, you will have zero chance of success. But when you know what to do, it can be quite simple actually. But Try to bring as many grenades as possible. 2 will work, 3 is amazing, and 4 is God mode unlocked, more or less. And there is also a grenade refill in that fight. And also I recommend bringing the pistole. You know, that shotgun pistol thing? Because you're gonna fight in a very enclosed area. You're gonna fight in one of these train carts. And the pistole has a great damage output in closed areas and short range. And now I tried to go completely Rambo and stand on top of the train cart and take out those guys. Didn't work too well. So instead I have to change my strategy. And this is bad gaming on my behalf. I apologize in advance for this. Because I have an assault rifle with quite a few bullets in it. And for some reason I decided to waste my pistol shells. And this, learn from my mistakes. Instead of doing it like this, bring it with you. Use your assault rifle. Luckily for me, there was another ammo pickup. And once again, learn from my mistakes, I decided to bring the regular gun. And there is a reason for that, because we have some distance to travel before we get to the boss. And since this is a bit of an open area, so it's good to have some distance. And this is the first boss fight, or the mini boss fight. We have an ultra heavy standing over on that cart with logs on it. And this part can be so hard, because he has a minigun, which is a really ironic name because it's bigger than my apartment, more or less. But getting over these trucks to get closer to him to shoot the locks, keeping the logs in place, can be really hard, because if he hits you at the start of one of those bursts, he always fires in bursts. So hang around, cover until he stops firing, and then immediately pop out and start shooting these logs. But if he hits you with one of the blasts from his minigun, you're dead. There's no buts about it. You see, it's kind of a long spray, and it has quite a brutal damage output. But we shoot the 2 locks and we go immediately into the second boss fight. Or mini boss fight. And this is another chopper, we know how these work. He's trying to stress me, forcing me to go up. I recommend actually hiding behind these mesh-like railing covers. For some reason they are absolutely bulletproof, even though they mostly consist of holes. But we're gonna move up and we're gonna jump into this tank and start taking down the chopper. And when you're in the tank, you have an unlimited array of bullets. And you don't need to worry about the gun overheating or something, so just start spraying away. There is a bit of a bullet drop on this rifle, or don't know if it's tracer bullets, so it just seems like it's falling behind a little bit. But try to keep the aim a little bit in front of the helicopter. And also, whenever he fires missiles, you see the trail of smoke. Just point your gun at them and take them out, or they will blow you up. But this fight is very easy. This is just persevere and you will prosper. I don't think I have ever failed this fight, or maybe actually the first time I played this game, which was even on normal difficulty, I failed because I missed the fact that you needed to shoot down the missiles. But I've never failed on crushing. It's quite a quick fight. And now we're going into the last phase of this level. And all we have to do now is take out these last enemies and we will face off against Brutus, as I call him. And when you meet him, or when you go into the fight with him, what you need to do is head into the cart or stay really close to the entrance And I like to warm him up with a few grenades. I throw a grenade, try to stun him. It works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Bring whatever weapons you have with the most ammo. As I said, I recommend having a pistole. I don't, which is my mistake, and you should learn from my mistakes. But after you have hurt him enough, he will start running towards you. He'll throw a grenade and he will start running towards you. So I duck down behind this little couch, throw a grenade, he gets stunned, and I start spraying. And when he starts running towards you, you're gonna go into a fight. Make sure you're the one that throws the first punch. And then just block or dodge out of the way, pressing triangle, and then duck down behind this second couch. And I have lots of grenades, so I'm gonna let them do most of the work. When you have softened him up enough, he will lose his helmet, and you will know that you're soon over with this fight, or he was almost dead. Then he starts rushing you again. Make sure you initiate the fight, and then you're almost done. You don't do like me and miss the dodge. Because if he gets the first punch on you, sometimes you don't even get the prompt to dodge. You just die. So always make sure you throw the first punch and you will persevere. And you will prosper is what I mean, sorry. But that is the end of chapter 14, and I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.